Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're going to do another design stream. This is Let's Design, and it's been a while. In fact, it's been a long while, and we had intended to do a lot more than this. But we played chicken with not one, but two hurricanes. And, yeah, then I went to a convention. I got another convention in a couple days, but we're not vending at that one. We decided to not do that because it was getting to be a little too stressful. So now we're back. And we're going to hopefully keep doing some, get some more episodes out and see where we're at. And so cheating. I know I said I wanted to do something from the good old XCOM 2 in the last episode, or last series, but, well, yeah, that's too hard. I'm just going to be blunt about it. Yeah, it was just a little, not that I can't do it, but at this point, I'm just like, I need to get another episode up. I need to get another series up. So I went ahead and picked something I haven't done that I want to do. And that is what you see right here on screen. This, my friends, is, I'm going to butcher this name. It is called Chastiefol from, you guessed it, Seven Deadly Sins up on Netflix. That is King's Weapon. Now, the reason I want to do this is because, well, I'm not a tiny person, and I've been on the fence about it. I might someday try to do King. I haven't decided yet, but because I really like his little spear here. It's sort of a magical fairy weapon that does magical fairy things and turns into everything from knives to all that other stuff. But this bad boy is huge. I did not realize how big it is. The good thing is it won't be very big for like printing purposes. But as you can see here, this tip to tip length here is almost as big as her. Like the width of her chest, and she's a small woman. So, you know, I'm gonna guess this has got to be almost a foot, if not more. Maybe it's got to be more than that. We may look up her weight and use it as a reference here, but what we are going to use is this picture here. This is good because everybody's kind of in the same plane. The weapon's drawn very terrible in this picture, but it's just going to give us that good general scale of what they were going for with the weapon. And then we may also verify that and kind of average it between the two because we don't have the full tip here, but we kind of know what's going on here. Also, this is the only detail up here that I have of this guy. I want to make some extrapolation, I guess, to speak up there. And that hole is going to be problematic because when you're carrying a weapon this big, and I've learned this with Mercy, you have to put it on the tip. It's just you have to. So we may round off that tip a little bit more. It will be less accurate, but nobody's going to pay attention to this end. They're going to be looking at this end. Because this is going to be a PVC pipe, and I'm probably going to go with a 1-inch PVC pipe for this. That's about the same size as a Mercy, and that's a good grip for a good sturdy staff. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to be looking at our cosplay scale tool here. We use this a lot for doing stuff, and I've got a bunch of references we can use. So as our baseline, that's your first one. We're going to go ahead and use, to start off, King's height, because he's sort of square up on the weapon. And Kingy boy here is, human form is his chubby form. I believe that's what they were going for, because he's like 265 pounds there. But that dude is not 265 pounds, I'm sorry. Like, that dude is not 265 pounds. Whatever. But it says, in this form, he is 5'3" and 163 centimeters. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to convert everything to millimeters, because my brain works that way. So, and I lost that number, because I spoke. So that is 1,600. 100, right? Did I do that right? Yeah, it's by 10. It's not by 100. So it's 1,600 millimeters. Right there. We're going to add another line here. And from tip to tip, we are looking at 3,070. Now, we're not 100% worried about this. We just want to get an overall scale of the weapon. We can scale this. Like, if I do it for me, I would scale it to me. The PVC pipe is flexible. What we want is the head to look right and everything. And this head is drawn really big right here. I think it's about 20% too big right there. So we're looking at about 3,000 centimeters as far as an overall size. I forgot to open up a calculator because I was going to need a calculator. Calculator. There we go. And here's the problem with designing in millimeters. I can love to design in millimeters. I can't quite think in them. So 118, that's about 10 feet long. That is huge. That is so big, it's complicated. Like, doesn't fit in my car complicated. But we may shrink that down because it's such a big weapon, and, you know, and to be honest, that distance is not as big. So what we're going to do is we're going to probably go ahead and drop this. Let's pull a new image. Well, actually, before I do that, let's do a verification on... Oh, no. I need to do the baseline. Let's move it to... This is a really good shot for doing scaling like this because both these jokers are almost standing full straight. And so they're slouching a little bit, so there's a little bit of variation, but it's not like they're in a combat stance or anything, which is usually what you get. King's usually standing on the thing. And this number's got to be changed to Bane's height, which is pretty tall. He is 6'11", so he is 2100 millimeters, which makes the weapon 20 or... Alright, 2650, let's go. 25.4, 12, so my brain can get it. That's about 9 feet long, so we may go ahead and use that as like an 8.5 foot long. That's pretty good. That's a little bit longer than a Mercy Sphere, the Mercy Staff we just finished, but it is a big weapon and we're going for size. So let's go ahead and drop a new weapon in, or new image in. Boom. Okay, now let's do one more verification, just because I'm crazy. What that'll do is help me gauge this. So 1600 on Joker. This line is going to go from here. And all this is pixel measurement. You can do this by hand. So we'll go all the way to the bottom here, because that tip's pretty long. We may have to fudge some of our numbers. What we're trying to do here... Come on, click in there. Oh. There we go. So that is a little short. That's 2200. I know there's probably a shortcut to get straight from inches to feet. That's 7 feet. So what we'll do is go from here to here. Again, we're not really... Because it's animated, it makes things complicated. And that tip, if I look at the screenshot again, not this one. Not that one either. Oh, I may have to go back. I don't have the... Well, I guess I have the full tip. I mean, I know what the shape is from here, but this isn't a good measuring. But if we look, that one's cut off about here, which is... On this image is probably right here. So that's pretty good distance. So we'll go ahead and say that that's the right length. But we can't draw it, so we're gonna have to fudge some numbers here. So we'll go ahead and use his height as our measurement, and we'll gauge that this is pretty close. So we're gonna come in here, and this is the distance that concerns me the most. That is 350. Now, yeah, that's a little bit more than a foot. So if I was designing this for my laser cutter, I would cheat like fire. Well, 350 I could do, because that would be horizontally. I could do up to 400. So we'll stick with 350 for that. What that'll do is give us some other dimensions we can play with. Like, I don't know the tip length of that, but we can play with things and get, say, an estimate here of 150. So we'll come back to this image. We've got his height. He's standing ramrod straight here, and we've got everything. So let's go into our fabulous Fusion 360. All right, where are we going to start? We're going to start at the back, or we're going to start at the front? I think we're going to start at the front because it's more interesting, and the back will just be something I can do. Heck, I can even do that off camera because it's probably boring. Alrighty, so we're starting a sketch, and what are we going to do here? Basically, we need to flesh this out. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. In the last episode, you saw me use a different method, and that would be to drop this in. And we have an image, namely this one, where I could drop it in, but it's fuzzy, it's not as detailed. I would much rather, and what we'll probably go ahead and do is draw this, just, I don't want to call it a freehand, but sort of guesstimating it. That's a word. Honest. This detail's weird, and I'll have to figure out what that is. But I got a couple more screenshots, but none of them are very good. This weapon moves in that show, and I didn't want to spend too much time, so I didn't go to every single fight. I went to the last one, and I went to this one in the Crystal Realm thingy here, the pseudo Dead Realm or whatever they were in. So we know that this is a standard PVC pipe. Standard PVC pipe. So this is a standard 1-inch PVC pipe in the U.S. So, or that's what we're going to use for that. So let's go into, and I'm going to do all this sort of live instead of looking it up, just so you guys know how to do this. So a 1-inch PVC pipe is not 1 inch. It's 1 inch ID, which is internal diameter. This is OD, and the OD is really important. Let me see if I can expand this. This says it's schedule 80. Is there schedule 40? Does it change for the schedule 40? Just want to verify that. No. And there's a reason for this. So these dimensions don't change. And I think it's all based around 80 actual OD. Anyway, if you need the inside wall, you can calculate it. But everything is based around roughly a 1 inch diameter. Schedule 40s are thinner than Schedule 80s. And then there's the thin wall size, which is what they're calling it here. It's really drain pipe. It's not meant to have any pressure in it. I think it's like Schedule 20. I don't know if there's a rating for it, but it's drain pipe. That's the really thin, cheap stuff. Then you got Schedule 80, which is the really thick stuff. Then you got Schedule 40. I use Schedule 40 for most of my long shafts like this. They're a little bit flexible, but they're not too flexible. This stuff's weak as all garbage, but it's lighter and cheaper. So we're going to be using this, but we only need 1.315. So we're going to go ahead and convert that to metric because that's how I roll. Yikes. Alright, so that's 33.4, and we're not going to use that because 33.4 will not fit. So I believe my friction fit, and I need to do a chart and sort of set this all up, but I believe my friction fit is 35 millimeters. Yeah, that's what we used in the Mercy staff. And by friction, I mean it's tight enough to get it. It's not a friction fit. That would be probably 35 and a half. It's more of a gluable fit. It's a good fit. It solidly fits. And that has to do with, could partially do with the fact I haven't calibrated my machine in a while. But it has to do with the variations in 3D printing. You want enough room. You want enough tolerance on the outside edge and stuff to deal with that. So let's go back to our scaling tool, and what we're really interested in is pretty much the size right here. So that seems a bit big. Let's check this guy and kind of get a scaling metric. So that's 43. We're at 35. They're at 43. This is 40. Let's look at our other images. So that is a pretty big flange right there. And this is roughly 50. So that'll work. So let's go with 80 right there. Could go with 75. We'll go with 80 to begin with. And see what that looks like. So what we're doing is creating a body here. So the shaft will come into here, and then we'll have our outside diameter. Thickness is probably 20. It says 30. Let's go with 30. Some of this we may change because it's hard to kind of judge some of this stuff, especially when you're working with such small images. So 30. And it may look really big right now, and I like having this big chunk of material here because we are going to be holding a lot of weight on the end of it, because from this piece we design here down, it'll be problematic. Actually, speaking of problematic, I should have gone ahead and done something I didn't do. Let's take this body and create a new component. I'm going to call this component collar. collet, sure. I'll probably change that later. But collet might not be the right term, but whatever. How do I want to do this? I think I want to go ahead and draw. Nope. I want to create a circle here. And I want to draw my 50. And so the distance between here and here is what, 15 millimeters? That's not a lot. But it's being held up here and it's being held down there, so it should work. Because this won't be too heavy. I mean, it's pretty thin, which is a good thing. So I'm going to go here. That's 90. So let's do 90. And I haven't seen this show in a while. I've been kind of waiting for the third season. Got really excited for the second season, and, well, I don't want to say it was terrible, but it was terrible. It was a filler season, and actually when I was pulling screenshots for this, they renamed it because everybody was, like, I think, pissed off. So I'm just going to project this down and then make a new one. I could have copied it, but it would help if I remember how big that made that. 30 millimeters. But I mean, I like this show a lot, except for Meliodas. I'm just gonna say he's kind of rapey in the show, and I kind of like, come on, dude. Like, that's how they added their fan service, but I hate fan service. That's just me. I know a lot of people are like, I don't know. I don't blame you for liking it, but it's not it usually gets in the way, especially in a show like this. It gets in the way of the story, I like a lot. It has to be 15, because that's half of that. Half of 30. Is that the look we're looking for? Let's look back at our... Yeah, so we want the full circle thing. Alright. That is our collet piece. Now the transition from here to there is going to be interesting. So we're going to have to think about that for a second. And this is one of the things that I'm sort of on the fence about when I'm doing design work, is that it... do I design it to be constructed, or do I just build it and then cut it up and figure it out later? But I think in this case I'm going to go ahead and design it so that it has sort of to be built, so to speak. Then we'll figure out how to cut some stuff later. This is probably going to end up being chamfered a little bit, and it's going to need to be split down the center, which isn't going to be a big deal because it's almost going to touch here and it's going to touch here. Then these are probably going to be printed flat without these bobbles. This is a good one, a good candidate, so to speak, for being printed all in separate pieces. Then you take them and you can sand them down, fill them out individually, then sand them all, because there's not a lot of junctions. There's not a lot of, well, we may have one up here, but there's not a lot of color touching each other. This piece could be painted and then attached here. But anyway, I'm rambling. So, we got our piece here. That is that. I think I did that wrong too. I should have had focus on this component. Again, I'm really trying to get better about some stuff. Let's go to the front. Now we need those blades, and I gotta think about this for a second. So we're gonna design these. How do I want to do that? It's probably a loft, but it's a weird loft. It's maybe to a point. I don't necessarily want a point, but I can't do to a line yet. Fusion hasn't added being able to go to a line. But we could make a thin line there. Let's go to a point, and then maybe we'll cut it and then chamfer it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So we already have this piece, and I actually want to carry the blade through, because what we can do... let me think about this. We might be able to hollow this out a little bit, and then have this slide on. No, that won't work. We need to somehow connect these two so that they Ooh, hang on. I haven't done that in a while. I have that. Do I have it? I think I have that junction. Okay, hang on. So we're going to go playing around in my giant folder here. Karna. So I'm going to talk about this, I guess. Karna is a character from Fate Extella? Extella, the video game? Why can't I find that? Where is it buried? Anyway, he was one of the projects I did last year. And what? Did I archive it? I might have archived it. How do I pull my archives back out? Oh no. I'm archived it because it was a big chunk of ugh. I want that to be pinned there. Actually, I want to delete that. I may have archived it. Alright, well, we won't worry about it. We'll bring it back in later if it'll fit. Regardless, in the Karna, there was a piece. What we did, and it might not fit in here because this is very thin, so it would have to come through and then fit here. I don't know. It probably wouldn't fit. What I was thinking about doing, just to kind of explain, is if I put you don't want a slip collar, but if you put a threaded collar here, then you put a threaded to slip collar on the end of the PVC pipe. You can run the PVC pipe all the way through, thread it on, and then it'll hold. And so then you can disassemble it real quick. You can put a set screw. For some things, you'd put a set screw in there. This, I could probably just, give it a good torque because nothing would break. I'd have a good solid point to hold on to. In the Karna Spear, I definitely put a set screw. If you want to see that, there's a video on the YouTube channel, and hopefully you're already on the YouTube channel, and that's how you're watching it, so you'll know. Anyway, construction plane. We need to know how long this spiky thing is. Spiky. So, about, say 90. Construction plane. 90. And we're going to want to sketch down here. And luckily we have this center point. So I can go ahead and stop the sketch and that point's going to exist. This may work. Alright, so we want to create a loft. And we're going to use this profile and loft to here. And is it going to work? No. Oh, it will. Oh, they changed it again. Ugh! Fusion, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. I love the fact that they're changing this. I hate the fact that they're changing this. Every time... What is this? Why does it exist? This command is now completely, not even slightly, this command is now 100% drastically different than what I used the last time. That's ridiculous. So what we're going to do is say, screw that. And that is annoying. I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little whiny. I got a new version is here. Oh, it wants to go to another version. Yeah, no fusion. We're not talking about that yet. All right, I need a construction plane, and we're gonna change tactics here. So I need boop, and let's see. I need a center, and we're gonna go up 90. And this is probably the better way to do it anyway. No, I need an arc. I really wish I could change this because I use this command a lot, and I really wish I could do an arc. I think I want to project this. Yeah, that'll give me a point. I really want to change I use arc so much that I'd rather change it so that trying to just gauge how I want this to look, how much of a curve I want it to get. That should work. Actually, you know what we're not going to worry about is this point. This is very pointed, but I'm about to shove a giant, probably a 3 or 4 millimeter blade through it. So anyway, I just want a shortcut command for that. Infusion doesn't let you do it. If I hit A, it glitches the whole system and brings up the appearance thing. And I'm like, I don't use that enough for it to be hotkeyed. Why is this hotkeyed? All right. Anyway, we're doing a revolve. And a revolve will take this pattern and spin it in a circle. Well, spin it along any... I guess it's a circle. It has to be a circle because it won't spin it across a path. That would be a sweep. That'd be a sweep. So we want to join this so that all these will be one piece. Some of them will get separated later. We'll figure that out later. Angles 360, join. Boom. So now we're getting started. And so I've been rambling and I have been chattering. And I believe time is slowly passing us by. So, unfortunately, we didn't get much done, but as you can see, we've got a good, solid start for the first stage, and we're going to move on to the next stage in the next episode, and I hope that I didn't get too wild out there. That's why I kind of film late at night, because it lets me get all loose and run my mouth a little bit easier. So, we will go ahead and hit stop here and move on. Go ahead and subscribe so you catch the rest of these episodes. We're going to try to stick to a more regular schedule. I'm not going to commit to anything right now. I got a convention next week and some other stuff in the works, but we're going to try to keep things moving and get more files out and all that jazz. So, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all for hanging out. If you see a link for Ko-fi floating around and you want to kind of give me a good indication that you want to get some files and get some Patreon stuff going, let us know. That's a good way to indicate, like, hey, we're willing to give you money for more of this stuff. But if you do just want a Patreon so you can get the access to the files and stuff, wouldn't mind doing that. I don't know really how to format that yet, but let us know in the comments below and all of that jazz. So we'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you very much.